Today, we're going to talk about something really tough. It's an event that goes way beyond a simple news headline. It's the story of the Gul Plaza fire in Karachi. A tragedy, yes, but also a very serious warning for all of us. You know, the story of this fire, it doesn't really begin with the flames. It starts with this really powerful idea, something that puts everything else into perspective. And it's this: what happened at Gull Plaza? It wasn't just an accident. It was a warning. So a warning about what, exactly? Well, it's a warning about what happens when the absolute basics of safety are just ignored. When the very systems that are supposed to keep people safe are left to fall apart, a disaster like this, it stops being a maybe. It becomes a certainty, absolutely inevitable. And that's why this is so important to talk about. This isn't just a story about one building, in one city. This is a lesson that applies everywhere. And the really chilling part? If we don't tackle the root causes, this exact same kind of tragedy, well, it's just going to happen again. Okay, so with that heavy context set, let's get into the specifics of the incident itself. What actually went down at Gull Plaza? So back in January 2026, a huge fire breaks out in this busy commercial building right on a main road in Karachi. And what's just wild is the scale of it. I mean, this thing spread so fast and was so intense that the rescue operations, we're not talking hours, we're talking days, several long, hard days. Yeah, an event that big, it always comes with a heavy price. But let's look past the burnt building and the news reports for a second. We need to talk about the most devastating cost of all, the human one.
Over 70 people. Just let that sink in. More than 70 lives. Gone. It's a staggering number. And that little plus sign you see, that tells you the real number might be even higher. We might not even know the full story.
And we have to remember, these weren't just statistics, right? These were real people, just trying to earn a living. You had shop workers, laborers, folks who were just paid by the day. For so many families, this meant losing the person who put food on the table in an instant. The ripple effects from something like this, they're just massive. If you want to get a sense of just how unbelievably intense this fire was, listen to this. It's a really chilling detail. For a lot of the victims, the only way to identify them was through DNA. I mean, that one grim fact tells you everything you need to know about what it was like inside that building. So that leads to the big question, right? Why was this fire so catastrophic? Look, a fire is one thing, but a disaster on this scale, that points to something much bigger, something systemic. It points to a total, complete breakdown of safety. So let's dissect this disaster. And this really lays it all out. On one hand, you've got the basic safety standards that should have been there. And on the other, the grim reality of what was actually in Gull Plaza. You're supposed to have clear emergency exits, right? Here, they were either not good enough or completely blocked. Fire alarms to warn people? Nope. Sprinkler systems to fight the fire? Didn't have them. Literally every single layer of protection that should have existed was missing. So when you see failures this obvious, the question naturally becomes, what happens next? What was the official response? And maybe more importantly, what does it say about accountability? Well, on the surface, the response looked like something we've all seen before. A pretty predictable script. Legal actions started for negligence, check. Authorities announced they'd launch inquiries, check. Compensation was promised to the families, check. These are the typical reactive things that happen after a tragedy strikes. But that brings us to the real heart of the issue, doesn't it? All of those steps are reactive. They happen after people have already died. So it makes you wonder, are these safety laws just words on a page? Things that only get enforced once it's too late? Look, at the end of the day, the story of Gull Plaza can't just be about tragedy. It has to be a permanent, in-your-face reminder of a very simple truth. Fire safety isn't optional. It's not just some box you check for the government. It's a fundamental, absolute necessity. And so we're ending right back where we started, with that warning. The question isn't just what happened at Gull Plaza anymore. The real question, the one we all have to face, is this: what are we actually going to change before it's too late? And this happens all over again.